Welcome to Cage Minds. I'm Micah Frankel. Interviews are powered by Dubby. Help what we do by picking up t-shirts at ziashirts.com. And today we are talking about BKFC 69, the Georgia debut. And we have a Georgia boy joining us, Nathan Rivera, the Rivera era. I also hear that they call you the Reaper. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you for the time. How you doing?
Micah, how's it going, man? I'm doing great. I'm doing great. The Reaper is what my boxing coach gave me, the nickname he gave me when I was an amateur, and it kind of stuck with me. So a lot of people do call me the Reaper. Yes, sir.
Well, my pleasure to make your acquaintance. Great to get to talk to you. BKFC, your third fight in the promotion, and now you get to do the thing at home. What does that mean to you?
Oh God. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, I fought in Georgia my whole amateur career pretty much. I mean, I fought in South Carolina a couple times for maybe one MMA fight and a bunch of amateur boxing fights. But to be here on this stage in Atlanta and so close to my home and my gym, it means everything. I'm very excited.
Does it feel different thinking about it in the pro sense, and especially because the last two fights away from home and you've made such a mark with the promotion in such a short time?
It feels different in some aspects. There's different pressures, right? And I love the pressure because more pressure, more diamonds. I like the aspect that all my friends and family can be here to watch me. I like the fact that, people that never have seen the sport, I get to introduce it to them, especially for, this being the debuting card for BKFC in Georgia. I do love going to people's backyards and beating up their hometown boys. So I like both, but being here at home, it hits different. You're right.
You said the Reaper nickname was given to you by your first boxing coach. So take us back. Where did this martial arts journey begin?
Man, I mean, it goes back a while, probably from when I was like 4 years old. My mom would go, I was in Southern California. My mom would go grocery shopping, and my dad and I would sit and watch like the Taekwondo gym that was next door. And I was like obsessed with it. He would always take me there. We would check it out. And it was just like something I was just completely obsessed with. I just loved watching it. And then I joined there when I was maybe 5, moved to Georgia, did a little bit of Taekwondo, went to Jiu-Jitsu, and then did MMA for quite a while. And then in between my MMA fights, I did boxing fights very frequently for USA Boxing. And then went pro in MMA, and I was just like, man, there's something here with this BKFC thing. I need to figure out what's going on. And a year later, we're here at looking to go 3-0 next week.
So as a kid watching it and starting to get involved with those martial arts, did you always know you wanted to fight?
Uh, I don't really, I don't know. I don't know if I knew I wanted to fight. I knew as I became more of like a fan, and I mean, I grew up watching Manny Pacquiao box with my dad all the time, all the family and stuff, and I knew it was really cool. And then it became real in like 2018, where I was like, I've been kind of just going to the gym, like messing around, like I want to take this seriously. So that's when I really started taking it seriously and wanted to pursue fighting. Um, and then it's kind of happens. I was talking to my fiance about it. It's like you blink and then you're like, holy crap, I made my amateur debut in 2020. It's 2024, and I'm about to make my Georgia BKFC debut. It's wild how things have played out, and I'm very, very happy with where they're at.
When does BKFC catch your eye?
It's funny. So Joe Elmore is the co-main event. He was the first BKFC fight I ever saw. He was like that crazy guy at our hometown that was like, I'm doing bare-knuckle. And then I was like, I gotta watch it. We looked it up on YouTube, we watched it, and I was like, this is crazy. But I was like, I don't think I'll ever do that. I want to do MMA, all this other stuff. And then the opportunity presented itself, and I was like, let's do it. Let's see what goes on. And then now I'm like never going back. I haven't been to the gym without my boxing shoes one day since I have signed with BKFC.
And I also heard you went to the tryouts. You were so invested that you went to tryouts.
Yeah, yeah. This is I understand what the vision is, what Dave is doing with this company, and I want to be a part of it. So any way that I can help, um, or just to show face and interact with the folks there, that's what I want to do.
When you make your debut and you have this success, do you feel like this just played out like expected? Did it feel at home, normal? Did it feel like, holy shit, I just got to do this without gloves? Like, what are the emotions and the thoughts processing after a spectacular debut?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I was like, wow, my hands are fast without gloves. I was like, they feel fast, and I was like, I'm on my P's and Q's in there because one cut could end the fight. The emotions were it was cool, man. It was different than winning an MMA fight on the local scene or winning a boxing fight here. It was something very different because this is the biggest stage, one of the biggest stages in the world, biggest stage that I've ever been on. So to be there with such a spectacular knockout, to be able to shake the hands of these people who I look up to, it was awesome. And then, to do it again in Virginia in February was even more awesome. And then looking forward to the future of what the future holds for me. I just get excited even thinking about it.
And I don't know if it's a confidence, a bravado, because you hand them an envelope before that second fight, and you're talking about this is the biggest platform I've ever been on. So is it belief, bravado, confidence? What is it to make a statement like that to head into your second fight and to already put it on paper that I'm going to make a statement this second time out again?
Yeah, I mean, it is self-belief, and that self-belief is fueled by my God-given talents, and my hard work, and all of the belief that my team has in me. It's I truly believe that I'm here to fight. And I know a lot of fighters say that, but I feel like I'm right now in this stage of my life, I'm here to fight. And that could change if God had other plans for my life, it would change. But right now I believe that's my path. And to to show that in the ring. I like being able to show that in the ring that, yeah, I do believe in myself and I do belong. And you got to stand out somehow because everyone can knock people out. Everyone can look good doing it, but there has to be something that makes you memorable. So every time I fight, I want to be as memorable as possible.
Was that your own idea, or do we have to give credit to someone else for the
That that
envelope, for the idea?
that was my idea. I was the day of the fight. I was sitting in the lobby, and I was just like, yeah, this is what I got to do. Just wrote it down, gave the envelopes out, and it was funny. I was writing an envelope when David Feldman, somebody came up and was like, "Hey, Dave wants to speak with you." So I went and talked to Dave, and I'm like writing this letter to him. So it was perfect timing. Zipped it up, went and talked to him, and we had a really good conversation about my future of the company. And I handed him the letter, and I told him, once I knock this guy out, I'd love for you to open this letter. And he was like, "Will do." So that's kind of how that played out.
It plays out like that. Are you even, again, stunned? Or are you just processing it like, yeah, it looked like a big moment for you?
Yeah, it was awesome, man. It was awesome. It's always a big moment when you put so much into something. And this is just goes without fighting, outside of fighting, just human to human. It's just when you put so much into something and you have so many people believing in you, and then when you go and do it, you're not only proving to everybody else that's watching that you belong, but you're proving to yourself that I belong. I'm proving to myself that all of this hard work doesn't go without, and then I do belong here. So it's man, it's filled with emotions, and it's something that is not really, you can't really describe it, and I know people have felt that before, but with the fist fight, it hits a little bit different, I think.
Is there some kind of list you have now of ideas? Because it's not just performing as a fighter and delivering those knockouts, but it's these moments afterwards, like you said, to stand out. So, how are you balancing that, creating these ideas versus still creating, the violence?
Yeah, I mean, man, I've had 10 months, a long 10 months to think about this. So I definitely have a lot of ideas, and what I love that has happened with my career is that people can't take their eyes off the screen before, during, or after a Nathan Rivera fight. And that's kind of what I wanted to create with that. And so I have some really cool things planned for this weekend, or I'm sorry, I should say next weekend. And yeah, I mean, it's a it's a party. Everyone in the arena, if they're there and Nathan Rivera is fighting, it's going to be a great time.
You win by knockout. The second fight, your opponent's getting up, and I don't know if you're a pro wrestling fan, but then he did the Ric Flair and
Yeah.
face planted. Like, what did you think in that moment? Because I'm a journalist and I'm supposed to keep my composure. It kind of made me laugh.
Yeah, I've knocked a lot of people out and I've never seen somebody fall like that. So I don't know if it was just like a combination of like I hit him very hard or he was thinking to himself like I don't want to fight anymore or if this was like sometimes when you get up if your brain is rattled, I'm no doctor, but if your brain is rattled and you get up too fast, I don't know what happens. But I was just like happy to be done with that fight because I hit him so many times very hard and he did not want to go down. And I was thinking to myself, it's right before that, at maybe 20 seconds or 30 seconds before that, I was thinking to myself, I'm going to have to hit this guy for 5 rounds. This is ridiculous. I've never hit somebody this hard and they look at me like nothing happened. So I was like, oh, thank God that he went down.
You did that, and you did it even inside of the smaller ring. That's excited a lot of the hardcore fan base.
My debut was the bigger, I think it's 24-foot ring. And then the second fight was I think it's like an 18-foot ring or 16-foot ring. It's tiny. So I've experienced both, and I can say I think I like the bigger ring better personally.
I was going to ask you, what did you feel was the difference in there in the moment?
Yeah, I mean, so for the matchup that I had for my second fight, I was going against a shorter guy with shorter arms. So his game plan was to rush me. And if you have a smaller ring, that's a lot easier, right? So I probably if I was fighting somebody who was a lot longer and taller, maybe I would like to be on the inside and I would like that smaller ring. But as far as that fight went, I was they told us the day before. They're like, we're debuting our new ring, guys. It's 16 foot. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm fighting this short guy that's going to want to get on the inside. This is like perfect for him. But luckily, we got it done regardless.
So are you looking forward to the fighting in the bigger ring that suits your style a little bit more?
I think so. I think so. I'm a rangy, longer guy for 45. Definitely there's a couple people I think that have a longer wingspan than me, but for 45, I have a pretty long wingspan and I like to use my length to my advantage. So that bigger ring where I can use my footwork and my head movement, it suits me a little bit better, I think.
So just with your natural body type, not much of a surprise. Most of your game plan is going to be consistently keeping guys on the outside.
Yeah, and it's what usually happens. It's usually the quickest path to victory. But I mean, I tell you, I work on the inside fighting probably more than I work on my range. I mean, I feel so comfortable on the inside, especially with the clinching of the head and the one hand and the dirty boxing. I mean, I have a ton of guys at American Top Team, Team Lima, that give me those looks to where I'm forced to fight on the inside. And on this 10-month layoff that I had, which was none by my choosing, my coach Brantley, he's like the mastermind behind all of this. He's put me in positions where I am forced to succeed. You know what I mean? I'm forced to grow, and a lot of those are in tight and close.
You bring up the gym, you bring up the full name ATT, Team Lima. What is it like in that environment? You mentioned Joe Elmore. We know the names like Douglas Lima and his brother. So there's a lot of guys that we also don't know about in that area. What has that environment done to develop you?
Oh, I mean, anytime I walk on the mat, there's probably 15 guys from the range of 135 to 155 that I can train with. I mean, and they're not like, there's no rest rounds, all competitive fighters that are all just there and they're chasing the same goal that I am. So it's shaped who I am really, but having that support system, like my team, right? My small team, and it's Brantley Furr, my coach, Reese Watkins, Philip Chesney, Hayden, my film guy, and then my fiance Brianna, that we all go to the fights together when we travel. That's the team. So that having that secured just support system and team means everything to me. And then on top of it, all of my close friends and training partners that are in the gym, man, it feels like when I go out there and I fight, it's not just me fighting. It feels like I have the whole gym behind me.
How do you feel it helps you having that hierarchy, that support system in place? Because it sounds like, there's the inside team, the tight-knit circle, and then you have this vast bubble of people you're able to utilize outside of it.
Oh man, it's so when I go into a fight, I feel prepared. I don't feel like there's a stone unturned. There's no loose ends. All T's are crossed. All I's are dotted. It's a very secure feeling knowing that we have done all the work. Everything is maxed out. Cardio, technique, condition, just everything is just where it needs to be. So going in there, I mean, it brings a different level of confidence.
It's a classic quote, no stone unturned. And I think the other day I even saw it pop up on your Instagram. So you were even kind of feeling that in your preparation.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean the grueling sessions, the grueling sparring sessions, the the conditioning sessions, the pad work, the frustration of having a technique that you're trying to work on and it doesn't work out and you have to rep it for hours and hours and hours. Uh, those are those stones that have been flipped over and very closely examined.
Two quick fights so far into the career made a huge impact. Is there any desire to get in there and go the whole 10 minutes?
Oh yeah, I tell my coach all the time. I'm like, I want a banger. I'm like, I want to go in there and I want to fight and just have a back and forth war. And he's like, I hate that idea. He's like, we're gonna go in there and we're gonna leave the same that we came in. And I'm like, okay, that sounds better. I'm sure my mom loves that plan also. My mom and my fiance are like, yeah, great plan. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely something in me that wants that, but I know that it's gonna come. You know what I mean? Somebody will be able to bring that to me, and I look forward to that.
Justin Street, as I see on the website, is going to be the opponent. I was at his debut with the promotion when he got a win over Anthony Sanchez. We knew he jumped up to really deep in the water, taking on Justin Ibaroa. What do you see in this matchup? How tough do you think Justin is comparable to the last two guys you fought?
Justin's by far the most experienced and toughest opponent I've ever faced. I mean, he's scrappy, and I think I've seen an interview with you and him and his opponent. I'm pretty sure I watched that because I watched. If there's anything on Justin Street online, I've looked at it. I mean, if there's any interview, if there's any, I like to know, your opponent. You know what I mean? I know everything about him. I know what he eats for breakfast every day. I mean, I know everything. And so I watched y'all's interview, and yeah, I mean, he's tough. He brings grit. He brings experience. He brings great cardio, sharp punches. So I think it's going to look really awesome when I defeat somebody like that.
You've been a mixed martial artist. You've done MMA for years. When you go back to a sport where it's bare knuckle and you're just having to concentrate basically on your boxing and your upper body clinch work, does that open up some of the creativity with these techniques that you're working with? Because now
Oh
you're
yeah.
just concentrating these certain areas where before you're like, man, I can't get creative with boxing. I got to go worry about wrestling. I got to go worry about this, that, and the other thing.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. The guys I spar with that are MMA fighters, they hate sparring because they're like, I'm dipping my head all low, and they usually knee me in the face or kick me in the head, and I'm like, I'm getting out of the way of all of these different things, and it opens up so much. I mean, the training that I'm doing now has never been done, and I just started. I just started a year ago being strictly a boxer or a bare knuckle boxer, a fighter. You know what I mean? I mean, before I was doing I would focus on my boxing, but there's certain head movement and there's certain things that you can't do because it crosses your feet, or you put your head too low, or you put your head too low. There's a guillotine, or there's a knee, or there's an elbow. So, I mean, people go, "Don't you get bored of just boxing?" And I'm like, no, because there's so many more things that I can work on that I haven't been able to. So I feel like I'm just getting started now.
Fight like this, 3-0 in the company, are you starting to think rankings, title shot, carving out that pathway?
Yeah, yeah. If it's for me, it'll be. I don't want to rush anything, and I've said that many times that it's like when it's my timing, it'll be there, and I can see why guys that are ranked don't want to fight guys who are not ranked because it's like it's all risk and not a lot of reward, right? If somebody that's unranked takes your spot, then you're out of luck. So it's kind of it would be risking a step back for them when it would be all gain for me. So I mean, whoever they throw at me, I've never said no to a fight, and I have great management that takes care of me very good. Sucker Punch Entertainment with Scott Howard. I just I feel prepared to take on whoever. If that's a ranked guy, if that's another not ranked guy like myself, if this shoots me into the top five of the rankings, I'd be ecstatic. But if it doesn't, then I'm okay with it.
The opportunities seem to be endless. The sport keeps growing. What is your vision? What do you see as the potential, not just for yourself, but for Bare Knuckle?
I mean, the company has, it seems like the sky's the limit. I mean, I've been in this company for a year, from last November, right? And in a year's time, I mean, it's skyrocketed. And I was at the Philly tryouts talking to a lot of the guys there. And I mean, it jumped up in a year. It's crazy. I've never seen this growth from any other company, and especially no other like combat sports company ever. I mean, it just skyrocketed. And so I was happy to be 2-0 at the time whenever whenever Connor bought the company and when all these other investors came in, and Dave has built this freaking machine of a company, and it's just running now, and he's put so much into it, and it's running like a well-oiled machine, there's really no stopping it, I don't think.
BKFC 69. It's there in Georgia. What has it meant to the people around you that they get to see you fight
Oh
now,
man.
do this locally?
I mean, they love it because they watch all my stuff on TV. I mean, I have friends and people that come out to Florida, Virginia, like people come out, and the people that support me are they're so dear to my heart, and they care about me. I could tell them that I'm like a professional water polo athlete, that'd be there supporting me. So to be here and to make things easier for everybody, and they can have a good time, and I like it to be a party for these people that come out to support me. I want it to be fun. I want them to have a good time. They get to unplug from their long, busy day, and they get to go have a night out and enjoy some fights. So it means a lot to me. It's almost like I can give back now a little bit. Like I can provide them with like a good time. And that's really what I want to do. They've supported me and helped me through so many things. So to be here fighting in front of them, it's awesome.
BKFC 69. Everybody, this one is available on the BKFC app. Again, the interview is powered by Dubby. 10% off with the checkout code Cage Minds. Support what we're doing by picking up a shirt at ziashirts.com. And of course, don't forget to keep up with Mr. Nathan Rivera. Tell us how across social media, sir.
Yeah, I don't use much. I use Instagram, which is underscore Nathan Rivera. I don't use Facebook much. I don't have a Snapchat. I don't use Twitter. I don't have Twitter. So that's really where it's at is Instagram. And then, I'm, uh, BKFC itself, they put out a lot of content for me, thankfully. Another one is going to be, Haystacks Films on YouTube. I have a daily vlog, and my boy Hayden, that's been rocking with me since I was an amateur. He puts out a lot of content on there for like, it's like kind of like an embedded or like a weekly vlog. So kind of behind the scenes, you'll see like meal prepping and goofing off at the gym and training and stuff that the cameras don't pick up.
So let's get behind the scenes there over there on YouTube with Nathan Rivera. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thank you, sir.